the Jericho.
Before the suits, before the spotlight, before the second chances. Robert Downey Jr. was just a kid on a movie set, not playing a role, but growing up in one. His life was cinema before he could spell the word. Born into underground filmmaking and raised by chaos, he would go on to become one of the most iconic, unpredictable, and resilient actors in Hollywood history. But this isn't just a story about fame. This is every movie that shaped the man, and the man who reshaped every movie he was in. Pound, 1970. His debut came at just 5 years old, in a film where humans played dogs. Pound, directed by his father, Robert Downey Sr., wasn't made for mass audiences. It was surreal, chaotic, and impossible to categorize. But for young Robert, it was familiar and formative. There's no polish in his performance, no craft yet. But there's something else. Comfort. He belonged on a set. In a movie about lost souls waiting for something, he found his beginning.
That tornado scared me so much it made my hair disappear.
Have any hair on your balls?
Greaser's Palace, 1972. 2 years later, his father cast him again, this time in Greaser's Palace, a bizarre acid western that blended religion, violence, and vaudeville. Robert's role was small, boy in covered wagon, but the experience was massive. It was a film that didn't care about rules, and neither, it seemed, did the boy learning to act inside it. 2 Tons of Turquoise to Taos Tonight, 1975. Part home movie, part fever dream, this experimental film featured Robert as himself, or something like it. By now, he was growing up inside his father's abstract cinematic worlds, and this one was no different. Fragmented, non-linear, anarchic. It didn't teach him structure, it taught him fearlessness. Up the Academy, 1980. His first mainstream screen appearance came in the background, just a quick role as a boy on a soccer team. The movie itself, a failed attempt to recreate the Animal House formula, came and went, but Robert was edging closer to the machine now. Not just indie sets, but commercial productions. He was watching, waiting, learning how the rest of Hollywood worked. Baby It's You, 1983. Here he had a name, Stuart, a real supporting part. Set in the 1960s, the film followed a love story between a working-class girl and a rich troublemaker. Downey's role was small but noticeable, the kind of performance that starts turning heads in casting rooms. He had a presence that wasn't trying to be seen, and that's exactly why you notice it. Firstborn, 1984. It was one of his first roles that hinted at what was to come. Unpredictability, charm, and the potential for collapse simmering just below the surface. He was no longer the boy in the background. He was the reason you felt uncomfortable in the room. Girls Just Want to Have Fun, 1985. Uncredited. He's barely in it, a blink and you miss it party crasher. But even here, the charisma leaks through. It's the last time Robert Downey Jr. would be uncredited in anything. Tuff Turf, 1985.
Hey, babe.
Mama. What's up?
Not much. How you doing?
Good.
The 80s were crowded with teen rebellion movies, and this one dropped Downey into a world of street fights and class war, alongside James Spader. As Jimmy Parker, he played the loyal best friend, adding humor and edge to an otherwise paint-by-numbers drama. Even in cliché, Downey found angles. And by now, people were watching. Weird Science, 1985.
Sorry. We're sorry.
You want to give me another chance? Okay.
Now things start popping. As Ian, the bully, Downey stole scenes without even trying. It was a classic John Hughes comedy. 2 nerds, a dream girl, and chaos. But while the leads were lovable losers, it was Downey's villain that felt fresh, weirdly likable, despite being obnoxious. You weren't supposed to root for him, but you kind of did. That was new, and Hollywood noticed. Back to School, 1986.
Hey, Lutz. You know who I am? Let me see. Protruding suborbital ridges, small cranium, 1300cc brain. Neanderthal man.
Rodney Dangerfield's college comedy hit was broad and loud, and Downey, as Derek Lutz, played it like a punk rock alien dropped into the frat house. With his wild hair, chaotic energy, and brilliant one-liners, he was the perfect counterweight to the old-school setup. He wasn't just a funny sidekick, he was unpredictable. That's what made it work. The Pickup Artist, 1987. This was his first time carrying a movie, a romantic comedy opposite Molly Ringwald. He played Jack Jericho, slick, flirty, but broken underneath.
Hi, my name's Jack Jericho.
On the surface, he was just another player. But Downey played him like a puzzle, smooth on the outside, anxious underneath. It wasn't a hit, but it proved he could lead, and more importantly, he had range. Less Than Zero, 1987. Then came the gut punch. Julian Wells, a privileged, spiraling addict who couldn't outrun the collapse inside him. It was brutal, sad, and terrifying, not just because Downey was good, but because it felt real. People didn't just talk about his performance, they whispered about how close it hit to home. This wasn't acting anymore. This was exposure. And it was the role that made critics say he's not just talented, he's dangerous in the best way.
Who's gonna take care of you guys when I'm gone?
Johnny Be Good, 1988. A comedy about football and fame with Anthony Michael Hall and Uma Thurman. Downey played Leo Wiggins, the chaotic best friend, rifling and running wild through a plot that barely mattered. The movie flopped, but Downey? Still fun to watch, even when the movie wasn't.
Let her go, it's been an hour.
Look, I seem to have lockjaw of the arm.
Rented Lips, 1988. A satire written by his father, Rented Lips was an inside joke for film insiders. Downey played Wolf Dangler, a pretentious filmmaker. The budget was low, but the performance was high energy. He made every scene feel like it mattered more than it did on the page. 1969. Set during the Vietnam War, this was a nostalgic piece about friendship, resistance, and the fear of growing up in a world spinning out of control. Downey played Ralph, all energy, attitude, and anxiety. You believed him not just as a character, but as a voice of a generation trying to figure out if rebellion was survival or just delay.
Why, are you trying to make me paranoid or something?
No! Ralph, what do you think you're gonna do when you flunk out and get drafted?
I'm not gonna get drafted.
That's Adequate, 1989. A mockumentary about a fictional film studio with Downey playing a young Albert Einstein. It's strange, it's niche, it's barely seen, but even in parody, he committed like it mattered. That was his secret weapon. Even the ridiculous felt real when he said it. True Believer, 1989. This is the one where he goes toe-to-toe with James Woods and holds his own. As Roger Barron, a young attorney uncovering a wrongful conviction case, Downey brought idealism without naivety. He didn't play the rookie, he played a man who believed truth still had power, and that made it hit harder. Chances Are, 1989. Time for a genre flip, romantic fantasy. In Chances Are, Downey plays a young man who discovers he's the reincarnation of a dead husband who may still be in love with his widow.
This is my friend Alex Finch.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Have we met before?
I don't think so.
It's weird, it's sweet, it shouldn't work. But he makes it work. Because when Downey plays confused, there's a glimmer in his eyes that tells you, I'm confused too, but I'm all in.
It's not what you think! That's good. You smarmy little bastard.
Philip? No! Philip!
Philip!
This is not what you think! It's something else entirely! Alex is Louis.
Air America, 1990. Now a certified Hollywood face, Downey teamed up with Mel Gibson in this chaotic war comedy set in the secret airline operations of the Vietnam War. As Billy Covington, he brought sarcasm, chaos, and just enough heart to keep the whole wild ride grounded. It was the beginning of a real partnership between two future legends, and a sign that Downey could carry chaos and still connect.
Jesus.
1 minute. Gene, I got a crazy idea.
Oh, really?
Dump the cargo and take the refugees instead.
Great.
Come on, do me a favor.
We better hurry.
You gotta do it.
Too Much Sun, 1990. Back on the indie track, Downey reunited with his father for this absurdist comedy about siblings competing for inheritance. He played Reed Richmond, and again proved he could make even the strangest material feel watchable, if not exactly mainstream. It wasn't great, but it didn't need to be. It was Downey being fearless again. Soapdish, 1991. Pure satire and pure fun. Downey played a sleazy television producer in this soap opera spoof packed with legends like Sally Field, Whoopi Goldberg, and Kevin Kline. He was slimy, he was hilarious, he was magnetic. Even in an ensemble, Downey made sure every glance, every smirk, every beat stuck. Chaplin, 1992. This was the game changer. As Charlie Chaplin, Downey transformed physically, emotionally, completely. He studied the walk, the voice, the soul. The result? A performance so powerful it earned him his first Academy Award nomination. This wasn't just acting, it was resurrection. And from this moment on, Downey was no longer promising, he was undeniable. Heart and Souls, 1993. A whimsical fantasy about four souls tethered to a man from birth, and Downey carries it with charm and heart.
Contact.
Hope he doesn't take this badly.
It's goofy, sure, but in his hands it becomes strangely moving. This wasn't Oscar bait, this was sincerity in disguise. Shortcuts, 1993. In Robert Altman's sprawling ensemble piece, Downey plays a makeup artist navigating love and loss in Los Angeles. The film was fragmented, poetic, and brutally honest. Downey blended in seamlessly, never flashy, but always present. He didn't need to steal the show, he was the show whenever the camera landed on him. The Last Party, 1993 documentary. Downey doesn't play a role in this one, he is the role. As co-writer and host, he explores American politics with wit, sarcasm, and barely filtered chaos. It's raw, unpolished, and personal. A time capsule of a restless young actor trying to make sense of a messy world. Even in documentary form, Downey knew how to turn reflection into performance. Hail Caesar, 1994. A forgotten satire about wannabe rock stars and corporate chaos. Downey plays Jerry, a frustrated filmmaker surrounded by eccentric characters. The film is bizarre, but Downey gives it just enough energy to keep you watching. Even when the story drags, he's a burst of weird charisma in the middle of the mess. Natural Born Killers, 1994. As tabloid journalist Wayne Gale, Downey gave one of his most unhinged, satirical performances. The accent was wild, the energy was nuclear. In a film filled with monsters, he managed to be one of the scariest without ever lifting a weapon. Just a camera, just ambition.
Well, the wolf don't know why he's a wolf. The deer don't know why he's a deer. God just made it that way.
You're saying that the world itself is predatory, that when a mountain lion takes down an elk, it's because it's the elk's time to go.
Only You, 1994. A romantic comedy that paired him with Marisa Tomei in a European fairy tale. It was glossy, charming, and totally implausible.
I'm Damon Bradley. What?
But Downey made you believe in soulmates, in second chances, in love that finds you when it shouldn't. He was magnetic, and this time, no chaos, just warmth. Richard III, 1995. Yes, Shakespeare, but not like you remember. This was a fascist reimagining of the classic play, and Downey played Lord Rivers, navigating betrayal, blood, and monarchy with terrifying grace. Even in a film led by Ian McKellen, Downey found a way to leave a mark, because even centuries-old dialogue sounded modern in his mouth. Home for the Holidays, 1995. Directed by Jodie Foster, this Thanksgiving drama gave Downey room to play and feel. As Tommy Larson, he was chaotic, hilarious, and deeply human. He wasn't the lead, but he was the soul of the film, the unpredictable family member who holds the heart of the story. Restoration, 1995. A lavish period drama set in 17th century England. Downey played Robert Merivale, a doctor who rises, falls, and finds redemption in a time of plague and politics. It's lush, intellectual, and emotional, and it marked one of his most mature performances of the decade. Danger Zone, 1996, a forgettable action thriller, but Downey as CIA agent Jim Scott still gave it everything. Even when the movie doesn't land, he does. One Night Stand, 1997. A supporting role as Charlie, a friend living with AIDS, delivering wisdom and warmth from the sidelines. It's subtle, powerful work in a film that wrestles with love, guilt, and mortality. Two Girls and a Guy, 1997. 3 characters, 1 apartment.
It's like smelling vomit.
Including me.
Downey plays Blake, a narcissistic actor confronted by 2 women he's been seeing at the same time. The movie feels like a stage play, intimate, raw, volatile, and Downey is magnetic in every second. Hugo Pool, 1997. Another indie with his father, another eccentric character, this time as Franz Mazur, a man with ALS. It's strange, surreal, and uneven, but Downey delivers a tender, vulnerable performance like a flame flickering inside chaos. The Gingerbread Man, 1998. Directed by Robert Altman, this legal thriller cast Downey as Clyde Pell, a sleazy private investigator. The plot is murky, but his performance shines. Slick, sly, and always a little dangerous. US Marshals, 1998. A sequel to The Fugitive, with Tommy Lee Jones returning as Sam Gerard. Downey plays John Royce, a government agent with secrets. He's cold, sharp, and layered, proving once again that he could dominate in big studio fare just as easily as he could in indie dramas. In Dreams, 1999, a psychological thriller with Annette Bening. Downey plays a serial killer haunting her visions. It's haunting, cerebral, and unsettling. And Downey taps into something truly dark behind his usual charm. Friends and Lovers, 1999, an ensemble holiday drama mostly forgotten. Downey plays Hans, another chaotic soul in a group of rich kids with emotional baggage. It's minor, but like always, he gives more than the movie asks for. Bowfinger, 1999, a Steve Martin Eddie Murphy comedy about guerrilla filmmaking. Downey plays Jerry Renfro, a slick studio executive. It's a cameo, but a pitch-perfect one. He steals his few scenes with confidence and comedy that feels effortless. Black and White, 1999. A crime drama exploring race, identity, and subcultures in New York. Downey plays Terry Doniger, a closeted filmmaker tangled in his own contradictions. It's a risky, complex role, one of his most daring before his personal life unraveled. Wonder Boys 2000. Alongside Michael Douglas and Tobey Maguire, Downey plays literary agent Terry Crabtree, eccentric, flamboyant, and full of charm. It's a low-key, richly layered performance in a film about writers, failures, and creative reinvention. A quiet gem.
Is he awake? There's a police officer on the porch and he's not going away.
That same guy?
Same one.
Whatever We Do, 2003, short film. Directed by Kevin Connolly, Downey stars as Bobby, a man navigating a night of crossed wires and romantic confusion. Quick, clever, and well acted. The Singing Detective, 2003. His comeback was taking shape, and this film, adapted from the British miniseries, gave him the room to go wild. As Dan Dark, a hospitalized author blurring fantasy and reality, Downey stars through noir hallucinations, musical numbers, and trauma. It's weird, bold, and deeply personal. Charlie, The Life and Art of Charles Chaplin, 2003 documentary. Returning to the man who earned him his first Oscar nomination, Downey appears as himself in this loving tribute to Chaplin. Reflective, sincere, and deeply respectful. A rare glimpse of the artist behind the role. It's not performance, it's reverence. Gothika, 2003. A supernatural thriller with Halle Berry. Downey plays a psychiatrist with unclear motives. It's moody and tense, and he plays the ambiguity perfectly. Eros, 2004. An anthology film where Downey stars in Steven Soderbergh's segment as a 1950s ad man struggling with erotic dreams and therapy. Stylized, strange, and short, but another sign that serious directors still trusted him. Game 6, 2005. A character study set on the day of the infamous Red Sox World Series collapse. Downey plays a volatile theater critic opposite Michael Keaton's playwright. The dialogue crackles, and Downey is delightfully venomous. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, 2005. As Harry Lockhart, a petty thief turned accidental actor turned noir detective, Downey is electric, fast-talking, hilarious, wounded. It's meta, stylish, and unforgettable. Hollywood watched this and said, he's back.
Captain Magic.
Good Night and Good Luck, 2005. Directed by George Clooney, this black and white drama follows Edward R. Murrow's battle against McCarthyism. Downey plays Joseph Wershber, a real-life journalist quietly risking everything. A restrained, mature performance. No flash, just wait. A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, 2006. As the older Dito Montiel, Downey reflects on a youth of violence, betrayal, and escape. It's gritty, personal, and piercing. One of his most emotionally honest roles, stripped down, reflective, real. The Shaggy Dog, 2006. A Disney comedy remake complete with body swaps, animal hijinks, and mad science. Downey plays the villain, Dr. Kozak.
Sure.
I'm sure.
Are you absolutely entirely certain?
Absolutely.
I've done it.
We've done it.
I've done it!
All ego and ego gel. It's ridiculous, but he leans into it. A Scanner Darkly, 2006. An animated adaptation of Philip K. Dick's drug-fueled sci-fi novel. Downey plays Barris, paranoid, hyperactive, and completely untrustworthy. His performance is somehow both manic and precise, buried under rotoscope but still shining through. Fur, an imaginary portrait of Diane Arbus, 2006. He plays Lionel Sweeney, a mysterious, disfigured neighbor who inspires Arbus's photographic awakening. It's poetic, strange, and intimate, and Downey disappears into it. Zodiac, 2007. David Fincher's meticulous thriller about the hunt for the Zodiac killer. Downey plays Paul Avery, a real-life journalist undone by obsession. Smoking, drinking, unraveling, he's captivating and tragic in equal measure.
If at any time you feel my excellent work is no longer in step with this trashy provincial rag, I'll more than happily.
Lucky You, 2007, a poker drama set in Vegas. A cool cameo that reminds you he's always the most interesting guy in the room, even when he's barely in it. Charlie Bartlett, 2007.
Mr. Bibbins. You, get to class. Now, let's go.
Downey plays the school principal, equal parts frustrated, jaded, and unexpectedly warm. It's a supporting role, but he grounds the film with maturity. No antics, just honesty. Iron Man, 2008. The world changed.
The Jericho.
Downey didn't just play Tony Stark, he became him. Snarky, brilliant, deeply broken. A man who hides trauma behind tech and guilt behind sarcasm. This wasn't just a comeback performance, it was a resurrection. For him and for an entire studio. Nobody believed this film would work. Nobody trusted a flawed actor to carry it. But Downey built the Marvel Cinematic Universe on his back and made it look easy. He gave Stark a heart, a conscience, a soul. And when he said,
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
He wasn't just ending the movie, he was starting a legacy. The Incredible Hulk 2008 uncredited cameo. A single scene, a shared drink, a promise. Downey shows up as Stark, not just teasing a crossover, but signaling a new era. The MCU had begun, and his shadow was already stretching across it.
What if I told you we were putting a team together? Who's we?
Tropic Thunder 2008. In one of the most controversial and acclaimed performances of his career, Downey plays Kirk Lazarus, an Australian method actor who undergoes a pigment-altering procedure for a role. It's satire turned up to 11. Absurd, risky, brilliant. And yes, Oscar-nominated. The Soloist 2009. A quiet emotional drama about homelessness and mental illness based on a true story. Downey plays journalist Steve Lopez, skeptical, frustrated, but ultimately compassionate. It's a softer, more grounded performance and one of his most human. Sherlock Holmes 2009. Guy Ritchie's reinvention of the classic detective. Downey's Holmes is manic, messy, brilliant, and physical in a way we'd never seen. It's a reinvention of reinvention, and it worked. Audiences loved it, critics respected it, and a new franchise was born. Iron Man 2 2010. The stakes rose and so did the pressure. Now a global icon, Stark was being watched, judged, and weaponized. Downey brought more than bravado this time. He gave us a man unraveling under the weight of his own legacy, poisoned by the very tech that saved him, buried in government scrutiny, and still pretending he had it all under control. But behind the arrogance, there was fear, doubt, and something more honest than we'd ever seen in a superhero film. Even with lasers flying and suits crashing through glass, it was his eyes that told the real story. He wasn't just building armor, he was hiding inside it. Due Date 2010. A road trip comedy with Zach Galifianakis.
How you doing? What brings you up to first class?
The seat that I procured.
Oh, sorry.
Downey plays a wound-up architect forced to travel with the world's most chaotic man. It's oddball, uneven, and sometimes hilarious. Downey's rage-fueled deadpan holds it together. Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows 2011. The sequel leaned into spectacle, but Downey kept it sharp. His Holmes was more bruised, more brilliant, more obsessed. The chemistry with Jude Law's Watson deepened. And the Moriarty showdown? Iconic.
Bishop to bishop 8. Discover check. And incidentally, mate.
Avengers 2012. He was the glue. In a film full of gods, monsters, and soldiers out of time, Downey Stark was the human center, flawed, brilliant, and unpredictable. He brought the humor, the tension, the spark that made the team dynamic feel real. But beneath the wit, he added something else. Vulnerability. A man outmatched by aliens and superhumans, standing in the fire anyway. Downey gave the ensemble its swagger and its soul. Iron Man 3 2013. More than just suits and explosions, this was a story about trauma and recovery. A solo journey that feels intimate, funny, and unexpectedly human. And in the final scene, when he lets go of the arc reactor, the suits, the safety net, it's not about walking away, It's about finally being free. Chef, 2014 cameo. A cameo in Jon Favreau's indie hit, Downey plays the eccentric ex-husband of Sofia Vergara's character, all awkward charm and weird energy. Short and sweet and totally scene-stealing.
She's pregnant. Just found out. This one? Pissed on a stick, came in, laid it on me 5 seconds ago.
The Judge, 2014.
You're not getting away with this. Palmer, you asshole. Hey! Stop.
Did that just happen?
A father-son courtroom drama. Downey plays a slick lawyer facing his past and his dying father, played by Robert Duvall. It's heavy, sentimental, and sincere, and Downey anchors it with restraint and real emotion. Avengers: Age of Ultron, 2015. Stark's guilt takes center stage, and this time it's not just personal. Haunted by the chaos in New York, he tries to build a suit of armor around the world, but instead he creates Ultron, a monster born from fear.
Like the old man said, together.
You see the cracks forming in the armor, in the team, and in the man himself. This wasn't arrogance anymore, it was anxiety disguised as innovation. And when everything starts falling apart, you don't hate him, you understand him. Because Downey makes the guilt feel earned and inevitable. The fall is coming, and he knows it. Captain America: Civil War, 2016. No longer the rebel, now the enforcer, Tony Stark believes control is the only way to avoid another disaster. He's tired of being the smartest guy in the room, he just wants to stop losing people. So when the Avengers split, it's not about sides, it's about survival. And when he learns the truth about his parents, that final fight with Steve Rogers isn't just about betrayal, it's heartbreak, it's rage, and Downey makes every second hurt. No quips, no armor, just pain.
This isn't going to change what happened. I don't care. He killed my mom.
Spider-Man: Homecoming, 2017. He's a mentor now, but not the wise, all-knowing kind, the reluctant, uncertain one. Downey plays Stark as someone trying to guide Peter without repeating his own mistakes.
All right? From your team. That's not a hug, I'm just grabbing the door for you. We're not there yet.
There's pride in his voice, but also fear, because he sees himself in this kid.
Hi, Spider-Man. Band practice, was it?
The brilliance, the recklessness, the hunger to prove something, and that scares him. So he builds the suit, but also the boundaries. And when Peter loses it all, it's not the tech Stark takes back, it's the trust. Downey doesn't dominate the scenes, he uplifts them. A quieter Stark, but no less powerful.
Room full of people in there waiting for some big announcement. What am I gonna tell them?
Think of something. How about, Pat, you still got that ring? The engagement.
Are you kidding? I've been carrying this since 2008.
Avengers: Infinity War, 2018. The beginning of the end. By now, Tony Stark wasn't just a billionaire in a suit, he was the soul of the Marvel Universe. Downey plays him on edge, tired, haunted by visions of destruction, and desperate to protect a world slipping through his fingers. From New York to Titan, Stark leads the charge against an enemy unlike any before. He's not cocky anymore, he's terrified and still pushing forward. And when Peter Parker starts to vanish in his arms, Downey doesn't speak much, because he doesn't have to. That goodbye wasn't in the script, it came from instinct, from love, and it became one of the most devastating moments in the entire MCU. Avengers: Endgame, 2019. This is it, the final arc, the last chance, the end of the line. Tony Stark starts this film where he began, lost in space, running out of time. But this time, he's not thinking about legacy or ego. He's thinking about family. Downey plays him softer now, grounded, bruised, quietly heroic. He's not the same man who built the first suit. He's a father, a friend, a husband. And when the team brings him a chance to fix everything, he says no, then yes. Because that's who Stark is. Scared, but willing. And when the moment comes, when everything hangs on a single act, he doesn't give a speech, he just looks Thanos in the eye and says it.
And I
4 words that closed a saga. He turned a man into a myth. He didn't just save the universe, he gave us the most human ending in superhero history. Dolittle 2020. A misfire, but even here Downey tried something strange, eccentric and new. He swung for the fences, and while the film fell flat, his risk-taking never stopped. Senior 2022 documentary. A tribute to his father, Robert Downey Sr. Tender, funny, devastating. Downey opens up in a way we've never seen, not as a performer, but as a son. A farewell, a love letter, a full circle. Oppenheimer 2023. Christopher Nolan's historical epic. Downey plays Louis Strauss, calculating, wounded, quietly dangerous. No jokes, no armor, just pure, precise acting. He disappeared into the role and earned the Oscar. Avengers Doomsday 2026. From the heart of the Avengers to their greatest threat. That's the full filmography. Every role, every reinvention, every resurrection. Because Robert Downey Jr. didn't just act in movies, he survived them, rewrote them, and became one of the greatest to ever do it. And if he returns once more, you know it'll be worth the wait.